Excellent. Thank you. All right. Greetings and welcome again to today's Inclusive London webinar that is sponsored by our partners at London Metropolitan University. My name is Dr. Lily Lopez McGee, and I currently serve as the Executive Director of Diversity Abroad. Before we get started, I wanted to go over just a few housekeeping items. Everyone is in listen-only mode today, and we will be recording today's discussion and posting it online following the event. Throughout today's session, we invite you to submit comments and questions through the question and answer box located in the Zoom control panel. We hope this will be an interactive dialogue and have dedicated the second portion of the session to questions and comments, hoping that we will have a little bit of time for engagement from you all. A bit about our agenda for today. We will be starting off with a bit of an introduction from our panelists. We have invited a panel of 4 students and alumni to discuss their experiences studying in London, including topics related to identity, personal growth, challenges, and learning. We'll begin with a brief welcome from our sponsors at London Met, and then invite our student panel to introduce themselves. Following the moderated panel, if time permits, we will invite 1 to 2 questions from the audience. We'll finish with next steps and opportunities to engage with Diversity Abroad and London Met. Now, I'd like to invite my colleague, Megan Good, to share some information about London Met. Oh, my apologies. I was a little bit out of order there. Sorry, Megan. Just a little bit of background about Diversity Abroad. Diversity Abroad was founded in 2006 with a simple vision in mind that the next generation of young people from diverse backgrounds are equipped with the skills, knowledge, and global acumen to thrive in the 21st century global marketplace. Jointly with our partners, Diversity Abroad works to create equitable access to the benefits of global education by providing training and resources to empower educators, foster collaboration among diverse stakeholders, and promote global programs and their benefits. We do this through connecting students with resources and opportunities that will then support their success in global programs and beyond. So I am really grateful for this opportunity, in part because we do get to have the student experience highlighted here today. Now I will invite my colleague from London Met, Megan Good, for a couple of introductory comments.
Thank you so much, Lily, and thank you for having me today. Thank you for joining us, everyone. My name is Megan Godding, and I am London Metropolitan University's Senior International Officer in North America. I'm actually based here in the United States, and I'm on the international team. So we have representatives that work with students and institutions all over the world, and my focus is North America. I can always connect you with our colleagues from other regions on the international team if you're joining us from elsewhere today. A quick overview on London Met as an institution. We're a medium-sized public institution in central London. We have about 12,000 students from all over the world. 2 campuses. They're just a few miles apart, both in central London. One is located in Islington in North London, and one in Aldgate in East London. We're very proud to be one of the most diverse institutions in the entire United Kingdom. You can see some of our statistics there. 55% of our students come from a minoritized background, 13% with no disability. We have a very wide spectrum of student ages, a lot of mature students, first-generation students. London Met is a home for everyone, and we're really proud of that. We have over 120 nationalities represented between our student body, our faculty, and our staff. Very global community. Again, a lot of people far from home when they're in London, and so London Met is a home for everyone. I was an international student in London myself, and whenever I'm in London, I feel at home at London Met. Very strong emphasis at our institution on employability and industry links. And our student feedback is always really that they connect so closely with their faculty. They help them get involved in the work industry while they're active students. We have a careers and employability office that can help students get that head start, get those internship placements while they're still studying. And just kind of a fun fact, an alumni that we're very proud of at London Met is the current mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, who you may have seen on the news before. He studied law at London Met. Next slide, please. So as a brief overview of how you could get involved with London Met if you were interested, we offer 3-year bachelor's degrees and 1-year master's degrees. So if you're joining us from the United States, you're probably used to a 4-year bachelor's degree or 2-year master's degree model at London Met, and in England, in general, bachelor's degrees are usually 3 years. So if you're interested in doing a full degree, you could come to London Met and finish your bachelor's in 3 years. Besides full degree programs, we also host a load of short-term study abroad students from the US, from Europe, and other parts of the world. These are students who are enrolled in institutions in their home country, but come to London Met to study with us for a semester, sometimes 2 semesters. So usually a few months up to a year. And we have faculty-led programs, internship programs. We also have our summer school, which is shorter sessions that students can do, come over and study with us, intern in London for the summer. We're very proud to partner with a lot of institutions. In the US, I work with 4-year institutions, community colleges, and we've recently launched a project that we're really proud of, which is joint partnerships with HBCUs in the United States. Our Vice Chancellor, Lynn Dobbs, has flown over to meet with the presidents at these HBCUs, and it's a really, really big initiative we started. You can Google and read some news articles on it and find more information on our London Met website. We also offer transfer opportunities for US students. We do 2+2 transfer for students who have completed an associate's degree in the US and want to complete their bachelor's in 2 years. And quickly, you can just see a breakdown of the fields of study on our 2 campuses. Aldgate is our very creative campus, our School of Art, Architecture, and Design. And then our other campus is the other side of the brain. That's going to be our School of Business and Law, Computing and Digital Media, Human Sciences, and our Social Sciences and Social Professions. So that's a brief overview of London Met, but I'm going to pass it back to Lily and over to our students.
Thank you, Megan. And my apologies for the mispronunciation. I appreciate your patience with me. I am now going to turn it over and welcome our student panel. As I mentioned, our student panel today has a mix of experiences and backgrounds. They bring a lot of really interesting insight about their experiences in London so far. So I am going to go ahead and turn it over to them for brief introductions, and then we'll get into some moderated questions. Angela, would you like to get us started? Oh, it looks like you might be on mute.
Hi, everyone. Angela Warner. I'm from, my hometown is originally in New York, Long Island. I'm currently based in Ealing, London. And I came to London Met to work on my master's in public administration. I graduated last year. And I'm currently working in the borough of Harrow on a volunteer and volunteer sector work in relation to health priorities with the NHS. So with that, I'll pass to the next student.
Thank you, Angela. Hello, everyone. First of all, thank you, Diversity Abroad, for having me here. I'm very happy to be here. My name is Pratishtha Podal, and I am from Nepal. I came to London 1 year ago for my master's program in digital media. So now I've completed my master's, and right now I'm working part-time with London Met University, and I'm also searching for a full-time job, which is a full-time job in itself. So I'll pass over to William.
Hi, everybody. My name is William Battle. I'm from Chicago. I'm 20 years old. I've been in London for about a year. I came here to study international relations and politics. It's been a great year. And yeah, I'll pass it over to the next student.
Thank you, William. I'm Payal, and I graduated from London Met in September 2021, last year. I'm an artist, and I did my master's in fine arts from there. And since then, I have been exploring the opportunities here and worked with prestigious organizations like Toynbee Hall. I've recently been funded by Historic England for a project, and London Met have been a been a very learning experience for me and a very welcoming place for me when I came, like in 2020, it was all lockdown. So for now it's this. Thank you.
Thank you all. As you can tell, folks, we have a range of interests, experiences, and levels. So I'm excited to get into some of the different experiences they've had in London so far. So I'm going to start with a question about your decision to pursue a global experience. I'd like to ask you all, why did you decide to pursue a global experience, and what made you choose London in particular? So Pratista, I'll start with you.
Okay. I think I decided to get out of my country and have a global experience for my career and also my personal growth. In my sector, although Nepal is making progress slowly, I didn't have a lot of opportunities, and I quite frankly couldn't find the right master's course for me. So it was a necessity to get out and find a course for me. And that was in London. And also, talking about personal growth, I really wanted to get out of my comfort zone and experience a new environment and face new challenges and meet new people to really build myself. So that's why I decided to pursue a global experience. And again, London could be like a personal bias because I think this city is really beautiful. There's so much to see and so much to learn. There are amazing museums, and I think because it's an old city, it is kind of interesting and special because there's a lot of story attached to everything. So I think, yeah, it's been a great year for me as well living in London, and I think it's worked out well so far. Thank you.
For me personally, I chose London because I had came here when I was 12 years old with my parents, and I had an amazing time. I remember it being like one of my favorite trips that I'd ever done. And so it like built an experience for me, really wanting to come back to London, loving the city. So that's why I chose London. As for a global experience, I study international relations. So a global experience obviously helps with my degree. For me, back home, even though Chicago is a big city, I felt sort of claustrophobic in a way. I felt that I'd seen everything, done everything, and I wanted to go somewhere else. And, because I'd already been to London and loved it so much, I thought London was the perfect choice for me. And so far, it certainly has been.
Thanks, William. So for me, I had a very similar situation as William as far as the love of the city. When I was 7, I had the opportunity to come to the city and I fell in love. And in the back of my mind, I made a plan that I was going to live here. And during my work in the States with the federal government, we had some downtime due to some political issues. And I decided that it was time to take a new tact. And I decided that I was going to finally work on my master's. And London Met had the program that fit my needs. And that is why I chose to come to London. It's a beautiful city. It's got great history, and you can't beat that. Payal?
Yeah. For me, it's because of the opportunities here in London, and also because when I applied for scholarship at London Metropolitan University, it did not had any age limit. So that was something which helped me to get through the scholarship, because I was like, for many of the international scholarship, there are age limits, there are country preferences. In London, another thing was to have more scholarships when you're applying for masters. So, and it's also for 1 year, because this was to be my second master that I did at London Met. And the earlier master was for 2 years. So I wanted it to be short and own scholarship. And London was the opportunity for me to explore these it all fit to my preferences, to my needs at that point of time. And London Met was just to the point that happened. Yeah. Thank you.
Excellent. So I want to pivot a little bit to ask you all about your personal experiences and whether or not you all faced any challenges while you were abroad, while you are currently abroad. Well, William, I know you're still in country, and related to either your racial, ethnic identity during your program or other identities that are particularly salient to you. And for this question, I will ask William, Angela, if you'd like to get us started off with this question.
Sure. So I entered London Met, unfortunately, during the pandemic. That was my big challenge. I had a very brief window to make a decision about coming over or staying in the US. And fortunately, I hit just at the right time to get my student visa and everything in place, because shortly after I got to London, they had another lockdown. So it was a good choice for me. As far as other challenges, I find it very interesting on the ethnic identity and racial piece. It's very different than the US. Oftentimes people see me as American first. They're impressed by that first before they delve into maybe some of the issues of being a person of color. And at that time, there may be some stereotypical comments that come out, but for the most part, I think most people see me as the American. And when I'm with people of other ethnicities or nationalities, sometimes they will ask me, so where are you from? And I'm like, I'm American. And they're like, no, where are you from? And trying to explain that very interesting dichotomy that African Americans have a whole different aspect of life. We are detached from motherland, country land, versus here where people have that very distinct connection. They're Jamaican and British, they're Nigerian and British. Whereas I'm American. And so that has opened up a lot of doors and a lot of conversations and introspection as well, because I have these conversations with my friends in the States and they're like, very interesting, very interesting. So yeah, that's been my experience. Pael.
Yeah, for me, for me, it was first I got the scholarship from London Met, which was giving an accommodation at International Student House. So itself, it was so diverse that I could see students from all around the world living in the same space. So from everywhere, from Syria, from India, Nepal, Sri Lanka, Romania, and different parts of Africa and US too. And more than US, I would say in my course, when I came here, it was lockdown. So there were not much students at International Student House, but still there were few. But in my course that I was doing MFA Fine Arts. They were all from different places and different ethnicity. Like one was from I forgot. One was from Hawaii, one was from Manchester, one was from I was from here, another one was from I think Ireland. So there was a mixed batch of students as well, and all also of age. There were age saps. Like I was in 40s, there was another who was in 50. I met someone, a grandmother doing one of the courses at London, and not in my course. So I would say, and she was again from US, like Angela. And I would say that it was a very, very learning and culturally rich experience that I had. I did not face any. It was all positive experience that I had to share. I also worked with Toynbee Hall, and which is working with Bengali community from Bangladesh. So it's so diverse, and I love the fact about it. And it was a lovely experience for me to have. Can I ask William to take it forward?
Yes, thank you. Funny enough, like Angela was saying, with people asking you where you're from, literally just last week, I was on the train and had a similar experience. Um, and like related to that in general, you know, with the Black community here, like Angela was saying a bit, you know, things are different than they would be in the United States, you know, with like the immigrant relationship, which doesn't exist as much, you know, in the United States. And, you know, I've learned so much more about Africa, West Africa in particular, about like Nigerian cultures, Ghanaian cultures, you know, than I had ever known, you know, in the United States, which has been a really fascinating experience and an experience that I never would have had, you know, back in Chicago. I can't say that I ever experienced any problems related to my, you know, racial, being Black or, you know, or anything else. But at the same time, you do get these like I was saying about being asked where I was from, you know, it's not a question that means to cause offense, but, you know, can be offensive if, you know, it's more of like an ignorant question that makes sense. You know, it's not meant to be offensive. So you do have these sort of experiences, but at the same time, I've had a very positive experience, and I think, you know, most people can say the same. And I'll pass it over to Pratista.
Thank you, William. So I was in the same accommodation as Payal, so I had similar experiences. I got to meet people from all over the world, and even London Met, as you mentioned, is one of the most diverse universities in UK. So I was meeting so many different cultures and people from all over the world. I also didn't particularly face any challenges, but I would have to say the first few months, it was kind of a weird, right? Because you're staying with your family, with your people, like, but coming into a different place, I sort of had this weird feeling from what I was. And it took some time to adjust. I don't know if this could be said under this topic. I don't know if it's under the racial slash ethnic identity, but it was like, do I fit in? Do I belong here? There is this certain moment as soon as you arrive. But after 2, 3 months, I think I was okay with it. And I have not faced any challenges, but contrary to that, I think it's been a very good experience to meet so many people and learn so many things about their cultures. It has made me happy about my own ethnic identity as well. I feel more happy about thinking where I come from, and I want to connect more to my roots and that kind of a thing. I don't know if that makes sense. Thank you.
It absolutely does. Yeah, I appreciate you all sharing your reflections on that. We're going to keep in the same vein as challenges. I promise we'll get to some positive notes. Although based on your responses from the previous question, it seems like even where there might have been challenges, it was also an opportunity for learning, engagement with folks on the ground as well. So I'll ask you all, did you face any barriers as you prepared to go abroad? How might have you have overcome them? This can be wide ranging. It doesn't have to be with any one particular area of challenge, but what were some of your experiences in preparing to come abroad? And William, I will start with you on this
one. For me personally, I had problems with my CAS. So if you do come to London Met, you'll have to get your CAS. I don't even remember what it stands for, but whatever it was. I was emailing back and forth with Megan, you know, who spoke earlier. She works with the North American students, as she says, and she's extremely helpful. But yes, emailing back and forth, waiting to get it. And then we finally got it, submitted all my visa stuff. And I had like 3 weeks before the day that I wanted to come here. and before the visa arrived. So I spent like 3 weeks, completely stressed, like, oh, is it going to come on time? I'm going to have to get the, flight pushed back, really stressed out about it. But it did come on time and it worked out for me. And like I said, Megan is super helpful. So if you are an American or North American in general, be sure to keep in contact with her. She'll help you with everything. I'll pass it over to Payal.
For me, the challenges were many because I did write the application independently. I was an independent, not through from any university or any kind of organization, because I just made my whole data of writing down which university, which courses, the outline of the courses, and choosing the scholarships, and then compressing it down that which one suits me. So for me, the challenge starts even because when I started to write, I made this whole breaking it down, and then when I set to start writing application, I realized that I needed passport. I didn't have passport at the point of time as an idea. So that was like literally I learned with every step how to do myself. But when I got the scholarship from London Met, everything was so smooth, and Simone helped me to get the cast. Kasim Patel was there here from London Met only. They were helping me out everything, like my flight, because it was pandemic and there was a transit flight. It got cancelled I think 3-4 days prior when I was to fly. I was packing and I realized, oh, the flights have been cancelled because it was transit. And I wrote to Simone and she booked, by next day she booked another flight which was direct. And because I didn't want to lose this opportunity of being here and being in London, because I'm still in London. So yeah, for me, it was a long journey of starting from scratch to be here and now exploring more. So thank you, and thank you for listening. And I would welcome Angela to share.
I think it's Pratishta.
You can go first, it's fine for me, or I can speak as well. Yeah.
So, like I alluded to before, my biggest challenge was trying to get out of the United States during COVID. I wasn't able to go and apply for my visa until, similar to William, almost 3-4 weeks before my scheduled flight. And I still ended up having to push my flight because the passport, and I had to pay extra to try to expedite my whole process. And so I did have to push my flight, but ultimately everything worked out. Additionally, I lived in outside of DC, so I had to sell a car, get out of my apartment, a whole host of things to come over. But it was very important to do that. And then once I got here, the transition with school was pretty smooth. I kept in touch with Megan, by the way, awesome. If you need anything, she's the person to always keep in touch with. But for me, I also had a mentor at work who helped me with, my process of doing my application, my references, and just being there for me to get me through whatever hurdles or battles that I felt like I had in order to come here. And for me, also, my work was very supportive in that they gave me an academic sabbatical so that I didn't have to worry about my job if I chose to come back. So it was stressful, but not impossible. And so you can overcome the hurdles. Just reach out and ask questions, and keep emails just so that you know that you're on top of things. Pratishta.
Thank you, Angela. Looking back, what kind of challenges? I think a lot of the challenges and hurdles and barriers were eliminated because I was a scholarship student in terms of financials and everything. And I also had a very supportive environment in my household. So that was conducive to apply and do everything. But as William and Pyle said, the application process, because of the papers, and it's a long procedure applying to CAS and applying to visa, it's kind of a headache for a while, but you can get over it. You just need to keep patient, I think. And also, I had a lot of support from Simona and Kian from London Met while doing those things, which made the process easier. And also, one thing I'll point out as a challenge, just to decide to go abroad, is like setting your intentions right and making your mind like what you really want to do. The decision, I think that was one of the challenges that I should mention.
So it sounds like time is something that you need to build into your planning in order to make sure that you have the time to process all of those documents and have the support to get through it, right? It sounds like you all had some pretty key contacts that made that possible. So for those of you out there planning to study soon, make sure that you're setting up your timeline for visa processing and things. All right, I'm gonna pivot a little bit to some of the things to ask you a little bit about, Pratista, I couldn't have set it up better in terms of setting your intentions for your reasons for going abroad. I'm curious, how did you all, how did your global experience in London benefit you personally, professionally, and or academically? I've heard bits and pieces already from some of the things that it is that you all have mentioned about what you've learned about yourself, about other your disciplines. But I will go ahead and open it up. And I think, Pratista, you are starting us off on this one.
Okay. Like I said, it's been a great year, and I feel like I have benefited a lot personally, professionally, and academically. Personally, I don't know about other people, but I was in Nepal, obviously, with my parents, and I came out here, and whole year it was challenging as well. I had to take responsibility, and of course, like I was an introvert person, but as I had to stay in this international student accommodation where I'll have to see people all the time, although it was not in my choice. I had to do that. So I had to step out of my comfort zone. And I think it has made me more social and also responsible. And I have built my emotional intelligence as well. So personally, I do feel the growth. And also professionally, like there are a lot of opportunities here, and the companies and everything which I've always admired, I get to see them here and maybe sometimes interact with them during several events. And also academically, I think London Met gave a really encouraging and supportive environment for me to do what I wanted to do. And whenever I try to learn something new, which is even out of the course, the lecturers would go out of their way to make time and like give the support that I need. And also I found all the resources. And right now I'm working in London Met for its e-learning development for extracurricular activities. And I feel really great to be a part of it because I know how much there's been put in for the education and overall development of the students. And I'm building it along with them because they wanted some student input into it. So I really feel good to be a part of it as well. So overall, the experience has been really good, and I think I've had good benefits out of it. And I'm really happy that I made that decision. Thank you. I'd pass it over to another student. Anyone who wants to go next?
Payal, would you like to take us on next?
Yep. For me, I would say that when I came here, it was all locked down and everything was online, the classes for the first few months till we started to go to the campus. And as an artist, you need that space, that studio to work in. So the first 4 or 5 months from November till March, it was kind of all nine, but I would say my tutors were all like giving us a huge like list of resources to read through. They were all very welcoming. They were all understanding, because we are all from different culture background, and we whenever we used to have online sessions, we were given the open space to share, and that was a learning experience from each other that we had. And but the moment I started with the studio practice is the most interesting part, because that's something every artist looks for. And the technicians I worked with who helped me to, build up my work, and in their workshops, and they were like, we would sit, we would discuss, and they would give their viewpoints, how I can do it, how I cannot. And that was more learning than beyond academic, because that's more practical. Its idea is there, but when you want to execute it, there are technicalities. That's how I learned. Like I worked with 3 4 technicians, and there was one person, Marcus, who used to juggle up my time with other students kind of. Then he was always very prompt with the mails, responding to my mails. Everything was so like that. After such a long period of lockdown and being at home, coming to this school space was literally very positive, gave a very positive thing to me, to apply for graduate route visa to be here for another 2 years. Because um, yeah, I would say. And professionally, yeah, after that, I've started to here work as community appraiser with Toynbee Hall, which is working with the communities around East London. That's again just a few minutes walk from my Aldgate campus. And yeah, professionally also, like we had this because I've been granted a funding from Historic England. So we had this meet and greet session on Tuesday, and got to meet a representative from London Met. And because for my project, I wanted to have some weaving workshops, and that's how again I'm looking forward to collaborating and coming together with the university. So it's a kind of circle. It's about, I would say, the place gives you opportunity here in London. If you are self-motivated, there's lots of positivity amongst people if there are people I have started to network, I've started to meet just by writing mails to them. So it's not about who knows who, but it's about if you are have your ideas, have your you're self-motivated, have your very whatever you want to do, it should be very clear in your mind, the right approach, the positivity, and the people will come and help you. And this positivity has really helped me out to be like here. I've again been awarded, not an awarded, facilitating by a mentorship with I like networking. So yes, I'm getting few opportunities. I would say one thing, like I've got this opportunity after so many rejections. So rejections is a part, and it's a way of learning. To you cannot you will be rejected hundreds of applications, but you have to take that one opportunity as the most. You should give 100% to that one opportunity you get, then you will get more. So this is my take of learning and being in London. And I would bring in William and Angela. Who wants to go first?
Sure.
I can go.
Go ahead, William.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, for me, I came to London when I was 19. So for me, it was much more about like, getting away from my parents, being out on my own, like living with my folks my entire life, to coming here, having my own place, being able to do what I wanted to do when I wanted to do it. And back home, you can't drink until you're 21. But here I can go to clubs, I can go to bars, I can do what I want to do. And for me, that was such like an amazing experience. I feel like an adult now, you know, and having responsibility over my own like finances. I have my own bank accounts. I have my own schedule. It's my life. beyond that, living in London is really great because London's, amazing with transportation, especially going outside of London. If you want to see Britain, you want to see Europe, it's so easy to do. Like this year, I've been to Spain, I've been to France, Belgium, Germany so far. I've been to Edinburgh and Glasgow and, Gloucester, all over London, England and Europe, et cetera, et cetera. I really do like to travel. And for me, living here, I can do so really easily, super cheap, go out, do what you want to do, see what you want to see really easily. Professionally, London Met is really good when it comes to like employability. There's job fairs that I will come to, and for summer internships, which I'm hoping to do next year, I already got myself involved with the application processes, have an application due in a couple weeks, which is something I wouldn't have been able to find if I hadn't enrolled with the employability with that London Met. So, there's that. Academically, I really do like the courses, and I've learned so much within my course about international relations and politics. I didn't know that much about it previously. I did know it was something I wanted to study, it was something I was interested in, and I had done a couple government classes in high school, but I hadn't really gotten into the depths of it. And this is only my second year, but I've already learned so much about it. And it's just been an amazing experience overall. Like genuinely, I'll tell everybody, this has been the best year of my life. I've been having such a great time. You know, I just love it here. It's been amazing. And with that, I'll pass it over to Angela.
Thanks. How did it benefit me personally? I'm going to go by what my friends will tell you, and that is I'm a much happier individual. I am at ease. The stress, America is my home, but it can be a little stressful. And I let some of that go. Not that there aren't stressors here, but it's just different. Travel, going to Bath, going to Glasgow, going to Paris, so much easier than being in the United States. So those are things that make me happy. Professionally, I was able to transition from my federal work environment back into my nonprofit environment. And I don't think that would have happened had I not gone to school here. Having that experience of being educated and getting a master's here at least had the opportunity for people to consider you versus being in the States and trying to apply for a job here. Academically, I will say it was an eye-opener from the system in the US at the university level versus here. It brought my writing game up. It brought my critical thinking skills up. It opened me to the different ways of, because my degree deals with government and administrative pieces of government, looking at how those structures are different and exchange of best practices in both of those has been very helpful, and it's helpful in my daily work. So overall, it's been a fantastic experience in all of those areas.
Excellent. Thank you all for sharing. It sounds like you all have learned a lot in all of the different domains of your life, which is really exciting to hear. I want to close out the moderated part of our question with question and answer period with a question for you all about what your favorites or one of your favorites, because I feel like every time I ask people who have traveled, finding one thing is really hard. So perhaps what has been one or a couple of your favorite parts about living in London? And I think for this one, we will start with Payal. Payal, would you like to start us off?
I would say the opportunities that we have. There are so many things that I love about London is traveling, that you can travel to many places like just by tube. People, good food. But the most interesting thing that I am now is experiencing is working in Toynbee Hall. In the past, like Monday, we had we had been through so many trainings, being sponsored by so many organizations, and having these trainings, doing our work, and then presenting it to the people, to the community here, the council, the trust, who's gonna work in, who are working, and who is gonna make changes in the space. That's like something, and someone like an outsider who has just been here for not even 2 years now, making contributing to such thing, like giving that opportunity to an outsider is like, I feel so inclusive now. So that inclusivity of bringing everyone in is something I'm looking forward to more with another project. And yeah, thank you. Can I ask Pratishtha?
Thank you, Payal. I think the best part about living in London is the friends I've made here, because obviously London is amazing, but to experience that with people whom you really love is even more amazing. So I would say that is it for me. I'll pass over to Angela.
Sure. My favorite parts, art, history. I'm not really a big royalist, but it is interesting. And I've, the good and the bad of it, we've been here for the passing of the Queen, and it's a historical moment that I won't forget. I'll probably be here for when the new king is coronated. So, I can't have those experiences anywhere else. And then I'm going to say that food here is really different, and different in the sense that it's a lot less toxic than it is in the US. Bread is delicious here. Butter is delicious here. Not good for you, but they're delicious. And I'll leave it at that.
I think my favorite thing is how big the city is, but at the same time, kind of small. I live in Shoreditch, which is, right down by the city of London. It's very modern, a lot of big buildings. But at the same time, if I get bored, I can go down to Greenwich in a second and be like, in the parks. Or I can go down to Richmond, in a deer park and see deer. Or, I'm sorry. My lights are motion sensor. So, but yeah, I can go to a deer park in Richmond or see a huge estate, at Buckingham Palace. There's so many things to do inside the city. It's like a world within itself. You can have any food you want. You can see anybody you want. You can do anything you want to do. It's an amazing city. And it really is my favorite part because there's always something to do. You never get bored. If you're bored of London, you're bored of life, I guess. But it's just an amazing city. And yeah, that's what my favorite thing is.
I think I'm going to quote that. If you're bored in London, then you're bored with life.
It's a
Well,
stolen quote. No.
Go ahead.
Oh, it's a stolen quote. I stole it, so.
I appreciate you contributing, letting us know that it's from someone else. It's still a very, I feel like, thoughtful response. Well, I really appreciate all of your all's thoughts and comments on your experiences in London. Thank you, Megan, for showing the quote, where the quote comes from. I wanted to wrap up our conversation with just a couple of notes from the diversity abroad side, since we are getting close to time. I wanted to just mention a couple of next steps One is that we will be providing the recording to everybody who registered for today's webinar. There will be closed captions that will be included in the recording, as well as a link to all of the resources that are included in the slide deck. It'll also be posted on the diversityabroad.com website. I would also invite you all to take a look at our Global Student Leadership Summit, which is coming up in November. It is a multi-day opportunity, but it's just an hour. It's a very small amount of time each day during that period. It's to try to get folks involved over the course of that time, so it's not just an intense day of looking at a screen, since it is taking place virtually. And I did want to let folks know that for everyone who's participated and registered for this webinar, you will have the opportunity to enter a raffle for a free admission to the Global Student Leadership Summit. So watch for the email to follow this email. And if you are interested, you're welcome to put in the question and answer period now, a feature in Zoom now, if you're interested in receiving that. And then I'd also just like to draw your attention, and this to our panelists as well. We have a global education student experience survey that's out now. If you have gone abroad before, we'd welcome your input on your experiences during your overseas travel. There are lots of raffle prizes as well for those who do participate in the survey. And then we will have more webinars like this posted in early November, so keep watch on our events page. We'll do a couple of ones that are student focused on student experiences from their time abroad. We will also do some that are focused on functional topics like what does this mean for your career, and how do you translate an experience overseas into a career related activity? How do you adjust your resume? What scholarships and fellowship awards are out there, so that we can continue some of the really, I think, thoughtful input that our colleagues today on the call contributed to. So we will follow up with the recording and the slides, as well as the links to all of these opportunities soon. I did also just want to give a shout out to Megan, again, who is this Senior International Officer for North America, for representing London Met here in States. You also heard the students mention a couple of other names, Simona and Kian. They are based on the London-based team, so you're more than welcome to reach out to this email, and they will connect you with the right folks. So thank you, Megan, again, for your comments. And then just as a reminder, please do feel free to engage with us, continue this discussion. We'd love to hear from you, what your experiences have been, if you've traveled in London, or if you're looking forward to traveling in London. If you want to continue some of the questions about what it's like as a professional, working professional, you've been out in the workforce, now you're looking to come do a degree somewhere else, like Angela, or you are a young person who wants to take a year, like William, or you're Payal and you want to do multiple degrees abroad, or you're Pratishta and you want to get some of this work experience after your degrees. We'd love to hear from you what your experiences are. So thank you again to our panelists. We really appreciate your comments. At this point, we will go ahead and end the webinar, and again, welcome your engagement afterward. Thank you so much, and have a good evening, morning, afternoon, depending on where it is that you are. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.